Good morning, everybody. It's good to be back in our podcast chairs, spending some time together. It's been a crazy week. We've had so much going on. We had our friends are in town. They made it in town. We had Relationship Refresh Friday, Saturday. Great event. I thought the sessions went great. So one of the things we do when we get ready for to do new sessions, we always do them here at our church first and with our people and local people that came in just for the event. And so it's a way to kind of test out the new stuff.
Yeah.
So as we go out and travel to other conferences and other places, we've got things lined up.
Making sure it's not terrible.
Yeah. So by now we could go 3 years to the same place and not repeat anything. So, but I thought the sessions went great, talking about the differences between men and women and how that can be a great thing. Doesn't have to be a disadvantage. And then we had Sunday, which was we had Sunrise Beach service.
Yep.
And then we had our 10 o'clock gym service. And then we just had a nice time hanging out with our church people at the beach. So busy week, but good week. We're looking forward to what we've got coming up this week. We're going to talk about marriage conference we got coming up in Georgia. And so, yeah, it's been good. I hope that things have been going well for you. Let's see. Today's episode, we're going to talk about, how did you word it?
Can your spouse tell you anything?
Can your spouse tell you anything? Mm-hmm. So, in other words, can you take criticism? Can people hear you? Will they listen to you? Will you listen to them? So, all about that. So make sure you're listening.
You might learn something. You might learn something.
I hope I do.
I'd like to learn something.
Yeah. So, okay. I want to make sure I've got all this lined up, ready to go. Where did this go?
I'm going to get a yawn in.
My stuff.
What is with me yawning on these? As soon as we sit down to record, I just have a 14 or 15 yawns that just have to come out.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that's about.
I don't know.
It's
Sorry.
kind of weird, but
sorry, love.
Okay, I think I'm lined up, ready to go.
Me too.
Any other things we need to discuss?
Nope, not yet. I do have my phone on today, but it's because I want to read a verse from here. So I'll turn it off when I'm done with it.
The volume's off?
Yep, it's on silent.
All your alarms are shut off?
Yep, they're all shut off.
I don't believe you.
Well, I mean, not my 12:30 alarm.
Yeah, but
We're
what
not
if
going to be on here for 6 hours. It's not 6. But.
We might go for 4 or 5 hours, depending on how well listening you do.
I'm tapping out before then.
We'll see. Okay, here we go. Gather round, everybody. It's time for a family meeting.
You sound so fake.
The family meeting is a show that's all about family relationships.
Oh.
We're the Osterkamps. I'm Thomas. Well, this is the thing. For those of you who are watching YouTube, you don't know this, but the intro basically never changes on the audio podcast. So it's already set up. So I just drop in the new content episode where Lysandra says, "Welcome to episode whatever." This just kind of lines us up, gets us in
mode.
In the mode. So
get us in the zone.
Yeah. Now, unless like with the girls episode. So
yeah,
when they did the episode, I redid everything, and it takes a little extra time to change it in and out every time. So, but other than that, yeah.
That's why it doesn't matter how he says it, and that's why he says it weird all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
It's only for you on YouTube.
Yep.
The listeners on the
podcast.
A
little something special for you, just to see what's going to happen. But
it makes it worth watching these faces.
Exactly. But we're the Osterkamps.
Oh, are we?
I'm Thomas, and this is my super critical wife, Lysandra.
Yes, I am. Hello, and welcome to our family. Welcome to episode 253 of the Family Meeting Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. We are glad you're with us. On today's episode, we're going to discuss whether or not your spouse can tell you anything. Will you listen? Are you open to the fact that you could possibly be wrong?
Yeah, okay. That doesn't sound like me.
Can your spouse tell you the truth?
You can tell me the truth, but I'm never wrong.
Listen, humility builds a healthier marriage.
I agree.
So are you going to be more humble?
I could not possibly be more humble.
You have achieved ultimate humility.
Humblest person you've ever met.
Yes, you are. So this podcast will not be for you. You can check out.
Yeah, I'm the expert here that you brought in to talk about this. So.
Oh, so now I'm interviewing you today?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Before we jump into today's episode about whatever it is I'm not going to listen to, I want to invite you to be a part of Marriage Conference at Elam Baptist Church in Gray, Georgia. Coming up on August 9th. Going to be kicking things off at 9 a.m. We have 4 sessions that we're going to be looking at. We need to talk. And so looking forward to our time with Adam, Bray, and all of our friends there at Elam Baptist. It's going to be a really good time, and I'm excited for it.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is cool because this is first time that we've been to this particular church, so I'm excited to meet everyone for the first time and get to know people, hear their stories, and just to try to be part of their lives for a little while.
Yeah, so we've known Adam and Megan for a little while now.
Yeah,
so it'll be a good time to be with them, and so really looking forward to that. You can go to Family Meetings Facebook page and get the information for that. They're charging just $25 a couple. That's for married couples, engaged couples. So I think it'll be a worthwhile time spent together working on your marriage relationship.
I love it when we have engaged couples in the audience because I think it's so cool. Like just the fact that they are attending a marriage conference is like giving them a jump start in their marriage before they even get married. So I love having engaged couples with us.
Yeah, I do too. We've been having this conversation here. I'm pulling it up right now on Family Meeting Community Facebook page, or group, our community group. I came across this article that I thought was kind of funny, and so I wanted to share it. And for some reason, now that I want to pull it up, it's not actually coming up.
That's how it goes. Is it the one on the shopping?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at a comment on that this morning, and I thought it was a really good article. It talks about how men get tired of shopping with their wives and stuff. And Thomas has always been really good at shopping with me. Like, he's always been really gracious. And he'll just as long as I want to go, he'll go with me. He'll hold my purse. He'll do whatever I ask him to do. And this is the thing I love about you, Thomas, when we go shopping. And that is that you will just play a game on your phone or scroll social media or whatever. And so I know that you're content, so I don't have to rush. And I love that about you.
Yeah, because I don't mind. I honestly don't mind waiting, but I thought this was kind of funny. So I found it. It helps when you look in the right place.
Oh, good.
So the post says the average man gets bored during a shopping trip with their wife or girlfriend after just 26 minutes, which I'm like, 26 minutes seems like a long time.
That seems like a long time to me too, but I don't like to shop for hours and hours.
Yeah. Over 80% of men find clothes shopping with their partner boring, and nearly half avoid it altogether. The top reasons: long decision-making, hunger, crowds, or missing sports on TV.
All right. Pro tip for the women: feed them before you go shopping.
Exactly. Yes. So some men even wander off, sit outside, or start admiring strangers to pass the time. That's really funny.
Does that mean people watching or lusting after other women?
No, just people watching, I think. This is a UK study. So
people watching is a great way to waste time. But see, I think that when the guy goes out to the car and is like, just take your time, I'll be out here whenever. Yeah. I actually like that because I'm like, okay, he's fine.
Yeah.
I can do what I want. What I don't like is when I'm being stared at when I'm trying to pick something and I feel the pressure of okay, he's watching me or whoever it may be, if I'm with even my girls or whatever, and I feel like they want to hurry up and they're right there. It stresses me out and kind of ruins the fun of it.
Yeah, and I will often just drive you to the store, you and the girls to the store, and I'll sit in the car and just play on my phone or whatever.
Right. I don't like to shop for hours, but our kids, we have 2 daughters who will shop for hours.
Yeah.
And then we have one daughter who absolutely hates any shopping at all.
She almost always sits in the car with me.
Yep. And then we have one daughter who's more like me. Like, I like to shop, but I'm like 20 minutes and I'm done.
Yeah. It says nearly half admit to arguing with their partner because of shopping frustration. But here's the kicker. 58% of men say they'd fake enthusiasm if promised a treat at the end.
I'm guessing it doesn't mean ice cream.
I mean, I think it could.
Okay.
I think a treat could be whatever.
Okay.
So, if you're offering sex, great. If it's a hamburger at their favorite hamburger place, I think that's great also.
So basically, men are like children.
We are.
Because that's what I would do with the girls when they were little. Like, if everybody's good in the store and everybody has a good attitude, we'll get ice cream on the way home.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've got some comments that have come in. Ryan Livingston says it all depends on the stores. Shoe shopping 3 minutes or less.
Okay, he's not into shoes.
He's not a shoe shopper. I like Mike Horsley. He said, "What is shopping?" Of course, my wife chimes in and says, "I wouldn't think they would last 26 minutes."
I thought 26 minutes was a long time before they would get bored. I would think 10 minutes.
I think 26 minutes is a long time for a lot of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Bob Pazzuti says 15 minutes tops.
I'm with him. I get that.
Yeah. Gail Large Baker. Yep, that says large. Okay. Gail Large Baker. The opposite is true if we stop by Home Depot or Lowe's.
Oh, funny. Good perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
there are some guys who want to go into like Home Depot and Lowe's and just browse at tools and look at the hardware and whatever. I don't have a husband like that, so I don't know what that's like, but that would be infuriating. I would not do well with that.
Yeah. So, Kenai Drews says, it all depends on various factors. Victoria's Secret. And then he says Home Goods. He's like 26 minutes is pushing it. Cal Ranch Store, which I've never heard of. So he lives out in Idaho, so maybe that's like a Western store. Cal Ranch Store or Cabela's are definitely 26 plus while I look around.
Oh, Cabela's. I've been with a man in Cabela's, not Thomas, for literally hours where I was like, I don't even know what to do right now. Like, I don't know what to do. How do I get out of this?
Yeah. So I'm just kind of curious for all of our listeners out there, you watch on YouTube right now, put in the comments, how long before you're like, I'm over this? Spending some time shopping. And if it varies, what are the stipulations? Is it like Ken I said, Victoria's Secret? I mean, you can spend some time in there, I guess. So depends on what you're shopping for.
Well, and then there's a treat at the end.
Hey, perfect.
Okay, so let's get on to our episode for today. This episode actually came to me as I was reading through the Bible, and I came to 1 Samuel, and I noticed this phrase in the middle of this event in Scripture, and it really made me reevaluate myself, and it made me think of some people that I know.
Wow, why did you just look at me?
I didn't look at you at all.
On purpose.
Watch YouTube.
You held your head still away from me to make sure you didn't look me.
I did side eye.
Yeah.
No, actually I didn't, because this really is not Thomas, although I will say this was absolutely you at the beginning of our marriage.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really couldn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that I was able to break the cycle for that.
I am so thankful.
Which maybe breaking the cycle is something you need help with. We're getting ready. It's coming closer.
I was going to say, is this turning into a little plug right now?
September 4th is our Breaking the Cycle group coaching cohort. So I'm excited about that. If this is something you need to work on, maybe it is learning how to listen. Maybe it's some other addiction, some other problem that you're dealing with. Jump in today.
Yep.
familymeeting.org/shop. But this is one area where I was able to break the cycle.
Yeah.
And so
and I'm thankful.
I think for the most part, you can, I'll listen.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is definitely to any of us in our family.
Yeah.
You might have some people that you disrespect and they try to tell you something and you're like, nope.
Oh yeah, definitely some people are like that. Yeah, where it's like I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm considering the source and the source is not good. So.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But I thought this was such a cool verse. Not that it like, it's really it's a negative description of a person. But it's such a cool verse because it's like, man, after all these years, after thousands of years, we are still dealing with the same stuff as human beings and our sin nature.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the things, too, is people talk about the Bible being some ancient thing that doesn't really apply to us today, that we can't really learn from it. And, you know, it just shows how little they know about it. Because even, and I don't take this the wrong way, I don't think there are any throwaway verses, okay? So I think everything is written for a purpose and a reason. But some would read through the story and look at this as kind of a throwaway verse, but there's so much truth packed in it that we can personally use to examine ourselves in the way we interact with people.
Yes, the Bible is still completely relevant.
Yes.
So 1 Samuel 25:17, and I recommend that you go and just read through the chapter 25. But here's a verse. We're pulling it from the middle of a story, and I'm going to give you the background in a second. But here's the verse. Now, therefore, know this and consider what you should do, for harm is determined against our master and against all his house. And he is such a worthless man that one cannot speak to him. So in other words, you can't go and reason with this man because he's worthless. He won't even listen to you.
You can't tell him anything.
And how many times have you heard that about people? Like, yeah, like, you can't tell him anything. And that's kind of a man thing. Like, men, you can't tell him anything.
But I know people like that where it's just,
me too.
I don't even try.
Exactly.
I don't try with them because it's literally, you'd be more productive talking to a wall.
Exactly. Yes. And then the thing that's so bad about that is that person will never change because nobody's helping them to see anything. And they're breaking all their relationships. Like nobody's wanting to talk to them about anything.
Yeah.
And it's terrible to live with that kind of a person. So this verse that we just pulled out of the middle of a biblical event here is spoken by one of Nabal's servants to Nabal's wife, Abigail. And he's warning her about the danger that is coming to Nabal because of Nabal's foolish behavior towards David and David's men.
So what for maybe those who aren't familiar with the story, what's the situation where this is King David we're talking about, who's coming in with his soldiers? What is the situation that he kind of had put himself into?
Okay, so David is not king yet. Saul is still king, but David has been named the next king, and Saul's trying to kill him. So David is out kind of hiding. He's living in hiding, and he has 600 men with him. So these are kind of like soldiers, men who are like, they're following him. They know he's going to be the next king. And for, I can't remember the amount of time, but for many weeks or months, David's men were protecting Nabal's shepherds and Nabal's sheep as they were grazing in the area that was kind of near to where David was at the time. And it becomes feast time.
Okay.
So David's got all these men to feed, and they're going to celebrate the feast. So they know that they've done this wonderful service for Nabal for free of charge, just out of the goodness of his heart. So he goes to Nabal, and it's sheep shearing time. And so he says, hey, we took care of your men. We made sure that your sheep were safe. You didn't lose a single sheep to any, outlaws, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we gave you free protection. Now we would like some sheep to, and some bread and wine and whatnot to celebrate the feast. And Nabal is like, absolutely not. I don't want to give you anything.
Well, and the thing to understand is like, this is a rich dude who has a lot to go around.
I think it was 3,000 sheep.
Yeah, so it'd be like if you asked Elon Musk for a Happy Meal, where it's just like, you know what, this, obviously you're rich and you got your stuff, but I've done something nice for you. Mm-hmm. Probably the more sheep would have been killed than what we're asking for anyway.
Absolutely.
Right?
If they had no protection.
And so it's not like he's going up to a poor person that has nothing and saying, give me what you got. Mm-hmm. This is a rich person with a lot of excess.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So Nabal is just terrible. He's just awful to the servants of David. It's not actually David. I'm sorry that I said that, but it was David's servants as a message, right? One of his men. So Nabal says absolutely not. So the men go back to David and report. Like Nabal said no. He said, who is David? He has no respect for you, no regard for you, and will not help us. And David is infuriated. So he's like, all right, round up the troops. He's like, get 400 of the soldiers are coming with me. 200 are staying back with all our supplies. We are going to go. And he basically says, when I'm done with Nabal, there will not be a single male alive on his property.
In other words, we're cutting off his entire lineage.
Yes, because of this. And this was culturally what would happen. Like, this is not David being completely out of the ordinary. This is, in that culture, this was absolutely normal.
Right, and it's a telling of what history was, you know, not saying this is the good thing to do or what you should do. Like, this is just the way that it was.
Yep. Not prescriptive, but descriptive. So, David's on his way, marching toward Nabal. And meanwhile, a servant of Nabal goes to Abigail, Nabal's wife. And I want to read this other verse that I think is so cool. Now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife Abigail. The woman was discerning and beautiful, but the man, Nabal, was harsh and badly behaved. So
that could describe us. That's literally you and me.
I love you so much.
She likes bad boys.
Yeah, sometimes.
Bad behaved.
Sometimes good girls like bad boys. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So Abigail is like, oh my goodness, this is not good, but she's discerning. She's got like this power. She's this powerful, wonderful woman. And she's like, I've got to intervene. Mm-hmm. Now, in this situation, wouldn't it be great as a wife to be able to go to your husband and say, honey, I want you to rethink what you did. This really wasn't wise. You know, they've done all this for us. We should be generous and give them something. We have 3,000 sheep. We can give them 4, you know, or whatever. But she knew she could not go to her husband. And the servant said, you can't go to him and tell him anything. So even the servant knew, we can't reason with Nabal. Right. There's no way out of this through Nabal. So that being said, Abigail has to go around his head, and she does. So she has the servants prepare this wonderful feast, bread, wine, sheep, like all kinds of things. She sends her servants toward David, who is marching toward Nabal. And she cuts them off with the servants with all the gifts, gives them all the gifts. Then she comes to the front of the line, right? And she comes and she sees David, and she bows herself before him and says, like, David, I'm so sorry. We are your servants. You know, don't hold this against us, what Nabal has done. Here are gifts for you and your men. And David praises her for her wisdom and her strength, and basically says, because of you, I am not going to go and punish Nabal and his family. And so everything is taken care of. Meanwhile, then Abigail goes back. Nabal has been feasting. He's in a drunken stupor, so Abigail can't tell him what's happened yet. She tells him the next morning when he hears his heart just gives out and he becomes like a stone for several days, and then he dies.
And then David is like, what up, girl?
David goes up to Abigail and is like, how you doing?
Yeah.
And David and Abigail get married.
Yeah.
And now Abigail is not married to a man that you can't tell him anything. She's married to a good man like David. Well, you know, good.
Yeah.
We're saying good, quote unquote good.
One of the women married to David. So, once again, it's the way that it was. We don't think it's the right thing.
Yeah. We believe in one woman, one man for one lifetime.
Yeah. So
that's the story. That was a long story.
Yeah, but I think it's so powerful, and it brings up a couple questions we want you to ask yourself today.
Okay.
And I think that these will help you evaluate what kind of spouse that you are. And I think it's good for us on a regular basis. So one of the things we try to do regularly on the podcast is get each of us to evaluate ourselves, our relationships, the way that we treat the people around us in a lot of different areas. It's a lot of what the family meeting ideas are about. But the first question to consider about this is, am I safe to speak to? Mm. So can your spouse come up to you and talk to you about anything? Maybe it's something that you said or something that you did. Can your spouse tell you anything without fear of defensiveness, dismissal, or drama?
Yeah, because sometimes the drama is what deters you from talking to someone. It's
Yeah.
like, I know if I bring this up, there's going to be so much drama. It's just, I can't even deal with that drama. I'm not even going to say anything.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the first thing is hey, am I safe to speak to? Can your spouse tell you anything? And you think about what the servant said about him. One cannot speak to him. You can't tell this guy anything. That's how the Bible describes Nabal. A man so prideful and closed off that no one could reason with him. And here's the thing, like, could your spouse ever feel the same about you? Where it's like, you know what? I can't tell her anything. Or maybe it's about a certain topic. Maybe there's a lot of things they could talk to you about, but when it comes to how you spend money, or how you spend your free time, or how you interact with the kids, or maybe in a lot of ways they can come up and they can talk to you about anything and you're open to receive it. But when it comes to the time you're spending playing video games at night, they just can't talk to you. So maybe you say, well, they can talk to me about just about everything. Well, why is it that you are so sensitive about this one particular area of your life? And it's really something to think about.
This is actually something that I'm afraid of becoming. You know what I mean? Like, this is something that I just really don't want to be like this. And so, but I know it's so easy to have blind spots in your life where you think where you just aren't self-aware, and you think, oh man, I'm not like that. And then everyone around you is like, man, she's so like that.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid of that in my life. That's why I think it's so good to just keep reevaluating yourself, and then giving your spouse permission to speak into your life and say, hey, am I like this? Is this me? Do you feel like you can come to me with anything and I'll listen and whatnot? But here's the deal. When there's somebody who you can't tell them anything, you can't reason with them, they won't listen to what you have to say, the bottom line there is pride.
Definitely.
They are so arrogant to think, A, I could never be wrong. B, I have nothing to learn from you or anyone else. And you can just hear the disgusting, putrid pride in that.
Yeah.
It's gross. It's so gross. And we want to explore what happens when pride replaces humility in marriage. How does this damage connection, trust, communication? Because it will. It will absolutely destroy intimacy in your marriage. That's what happens when pride is not taken care of, and pride is there instead of humility.
Well, and you kind of bring this up about how it's going to destroy intimacy in your marriage. That defensiveness. Your spouse comes up and tries to talk to you about a situation, about, maybe it's a habit, maybe it's something that's starting to take place, something you said, and you get defensive. Instead of listening and hearing what your spouse has to say, that defensiveness shuts down emotional intimacy. Mm-hmm. It is a barrier to vulnerability. And when one spouse becomes defensive, it signals that they are more interested in protecting their ego than in understanding the other's heart. And over time, this leads to an emotional disconnection.
Do you think that typically when someone becomes overly defensive, it's because they are insecure?
Not necessarily. I think that it could be. But I think it also could be they just don't want to change. That could be one of the issues. I enjoy whatever this behavior is, this hobby, and it is the priority right now, and so I just don't want to hear it. Sometimes it's just you don't respect the person for whatever reason coming to you, mm-hmm. right? So it could be a situation where if I have a really huge problem in our marriage, and I notice that you're maybe short with the kids, and I come up to you and say, hey, I want to talk to you about, the interaction I overheard with the kids. Now, if I have a bunch of problems, it's like, well, why do I want to listen to you? Because, you're not dealing with this whole laundry list of things. And of course, that's where Jesus says, hey, make sure you deal with your own issues before you try to confront somebody else. So I don't necessarily think it's just one thing. I think it could be that, but it could be a wide variety of reasons, which is part of the reason we encourage people to kind of search your heart, ask God to search your heart. Like, what is the reason that people can't speak to me? Mm-hmm. What's the reason I won't listen to other people? Because I think it could be pride is ultimately it, but it comes down to a lot of different factors, I think. And
it might be good for you to ask yourself the question, why am I so defensive all the time? What's causing that? Like, why do I feel like I need to be like that? I love what Proverbs 18:2 says, a fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only expressing his own opinion. And boy, that's
powerful.
Not a pleasant person to be around. So if the only thing you ever want to do is express your own opinion, you're not interested in hearing what your spouse has to say, the Bible calls you a fool. Like, that's what you are. And I agree with that, man.
Yeah,
it's true.
Well, what's funny is, like, I've had conversations with people who are talking like they know what they're talking about when they really don't know what they're talking about. And so I'm just like, listening to them, and it could be on any topic, and they're just going off about this or that, like they know what they're talking about, and I'm just like, that's not accurate. That's not
right
true.
At all.
Now, do I in the moment tell them that? Like, no, it's not going to be helpful. But this verse kind of reminds me of that, where it's like they have no understanding, they just want to express their opinion.
Yeah. And I think one of the most beautiful things you can say to somebody is, wow, I don't know anything about that world. Tell me more. Like, it's okay to say you don't know something about something and, like, let me hear your opinion on that. Let me hear your thoughts on that. But that takes humility. But this idea of defensiveness, what that does is it invalidates your spouse's feelings. And it's going to cause them to withdraw or shut down. And we don't want that, because when that happens, then there's no more intimacy. There's no more connection. So if I want to talk to Thomas about something that's important to me and he's really defensive and I'm like, whoa, that's not what I meant. Then I'm just going to learn from that. And I'm going to be like, well, okay, there's no point in talking to you. Or I'm just going to shut down and not talk to him. Now we have no connection. We don't have intimacy, because true intimacy requires a posture of listening and openness.
Yeah. It's intimacy grows in like a very open environment. And so
where you feel safe.
Yeah. So if I don't feel safe, or you don't feel safe talking to somebody, and there is no vulnerability there, then that intimacy really can't grow. So thinking about, what can we do to make sure that our marriage is a safe place for honesty and feedback? And part of it has to do with both partners knowing that their thoughts, feelings, and concerns will be heard without fear of ridicule, anger, or retaliation. And I like what James 1:19 says. I think it's good for us in a lot of different areas of our life. It says, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. And so just hear them out. Whatever it is, hear them out. It could not be accurate at all. It could be a total misunderstanding, how they misread the situation. There's no reason to be defensive. There's no reason to get upset about it. Just hear them out and be slow to speak, slow to anger.
So there are ways that you can make your marriage safe for honesty and feedback. And maybe this is really lacking in your marriage, where you don't feel safe to talk about things. You don't feel safe to give feedback. So here are some things that you can try to implement in your marriage.
Well, and I think one of the most important, keys that you just mentioned is this idea of consistent grace. And just as a reminder for those who are listening, grace is good things that you and I don't deserve. And so the scripture is full of instances where Our words are to give grace. We're to be a people of grace. Like God has shown us immense grace through Jesus and what he's done for us. Without that grace, we are paying for our own sins for all eternity. So we have been given grace, and that's that same grace that we're to show. And so even if I feel like my spouse doesn't deserve it, which that's what grace is all about. Yeah. And we ought to, I mean, if there's anybody we should be showing grace to, it's our spouse. It's the person we love more than any other person on this earth.
And if they deserve it, then it's no longer grace.
Yeah.
It's what they've earned. It's their wage. So yeah. And I like what you said about consistent grace, because so often we're really inconsistent with that.
Yeah.
And
we show grace as long as we feel like it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Which isn't grace really at all.
Yeah.
But that prevents it, safety in marriage. It prevents you from being able to really open up and everything. Another thing to think about in this area is emotional regulation. So really evaluating your own emotions and kind of staying current with them. The more you push down your emotions and you try to ignore them, the more they're going to boil up and get crazy. So, be thinking about that and be dealing with your emotions on a regular basis so that you're not kind of out of whack.
Well, and I think about that verse in James that we just talked about, slow to anger. And part of being slow to anger is learning how to regulate it in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And not let your anger control you or get out of hand. You and I need to learn how to control our own emotions. And so that's an excellent point you've made about that key ingredient for safety, one of them being emotional regulation. I think also along this line could be non-defensive responses. So it's like you're responding in such a way that you're letting your spouse know, I'm open to hearing what you have to say. I'm not trying to downplay it or make excuses or defend myself. I want to hear what you have to say. And so Lysandra comes to me and says, hey, you told me you would help me with the garage Thursday afternoon.
Oh, he remembers.
This is something I've told her, which is tomorrow. And I'm dreading tomorrow afternoon. But she wants to get the garage in order. We've had some events and things like that. And so a lot of times we come back, we're tired, and we just drop the stuff in the garage.
Drop and go.
But she comes to me and says, hey, you said you would. And now it's Friday morning. So I haven't done what I said I would do. I'm obviously the one in error for whatever the reason is. Now, she comes to me and says, you said you would help me with the garage on Thursday. Now, I could start to talk about, well, I had this going on. I had to get this project, and I've got Sunday's sermon I had to get ready, and that was pushed off because we had company. And I could start to make all these excuses and put the defenses up. And what does that do? That closes off the communication between me and Lysandra. And so rather than doing that, I'm coming with a posture of, I'm sorry. Or how does that make you feel? Like I'm asking her questions now and trying to elicit more information out of her, right? Instead of trying to shut her down and make her be quiet and stop talking about it.
And along those same lines goes with listening without trying to fix or correct immediately. So, for instance, if I come to Thomas and I say, you told me you would do the garage yesterday and you didn't, and I'm really upset by that. And before I can even get my feelings out and explain how I felt about him breaking his promise to me and not being dependable, he's like, fine, let's just go do the garage. Come on. And he starts slamming things around in the garage. And I'm like, I wanted to be able to tell you how it made me feel that you made a promise to me, didn't keep it, it didn't seem important to you. I want to be able to express that stuff. And before being able to actually get all that out and him listening and caring about that, he's just angry and fine, I'm just going to go fix it so that I shut you up.
Well, and that's the thing too, is it's at that point, and we're using this as an illustration. We'll let you know next week maybe
If the garage gets cleaned on Thursday.
But in the illustration, it's not really about the garage.
No.
It's about you told me you would and you didn't. And of course, we've had podcast episodes on that about being a person of your word and doing what you say you're going to do. And it's all part of being trustworthy and dependable and all that kind of thing. So it's not really about the fact that the garage is still messy, although maybe a little bit for you. Because that kind of represents your whole life is like, if the garage is not straightened, your life doesn't feel straightened, but...
It's true.
So...
It's a little about the garage.
Yeah, so just those non-defensive responses. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you already say that? Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't remember that.
You should have been listening.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about the non-defensive responses.
We did, but I already talked about that.
Okay. I was thinking about the garage. I'm like, crap, we got to do the garage.
You're just living in dread of cleaning out that garage.
I know.
It's rough, you guys. And it's Florida. It's hot. Garages are hot boxes in Florida.
So there is a big difference between listening and truly receiving the information. And the heart of what your spouse is saying is listening is hearing words. Receiving is allowing those words to affect your heart, challenge your assumptions, and change your actions.
Proverbs 19:20. Listen to advice and accept instruction, that you may gain wisdom in the future. Some of us cannot do this. Some of us don't know how to listen to advice. We don't know how to accept any instruction.
Yeah.
Because there are people out there who just feel like they cannot be wrong. And that was you at the beginning of our marriage.
Definitely.
Definitely. And that was part of how you were raised. Like your entire family had that outlook. I don't even know how any of you talk to each other ever. Actually, I think you just never talked about anything real.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
Kept everything pretty shallow because nobody would ever want to like accept advice or instruction. Everybody wanted to be the right one. And the way that you can gain wisdom for the future is by learning from now. And so you've got to be open to these things. And it's really about the posture of your heart. So where is your heart with your spouse? Are you truly receiving your spouse's words, even if they're painful? You know, receive them, listen, let them affect your heart, because that means that you value their perspective.
Yep.
And you're willing to be shaped by their perspective. Ultimately, though, it means that you value them.
Yeah.
And this is something that I want to keep in my mind all the time. And I think you do too, Thomas. And that is that we all have something to learn at every point in our life. So like there's never going to come a point when Thomas has nothing he can learn.
True story. Yeah.
There's never going to come a point in my life where I say, I can't learn anything from you. I can't learn anything. I know it all. It never is going to happen. We all can grow. We can all learn at every point in our lives.
Yeah, because I don't know French yet. So as long as I don't learn French, there's always something I can learn.
You're hard to talk to.
Oui, prie.
You learned French.
Yeah. So here's kind of a different, the other side of this, right? And we're talking about humility and the importance of that. But maybe you ask the question like, and I ask myself this question a lot. What if I'm right? Like,
could you be right?
I mean, I know I'm right. Almost all the time. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. Even if you're right, so whatever the situation is, you feel you're right. Maybe you are right and you're justified in whatever the situation happened. Humility doesn't mean you always believe you're wrong. All right?
Okay.
So humility recognizes that you could be, and even if you're not wrong, you remain teachable.
That's good.
Because there are still things even in that, even if you're right, there's things you can learn. Mm-hmm. Like maybe you can learn how to approach it better. Mm-hmm.
Rather than saying, I told you so.
How to better communicate the situation. Mm-hmm. So like maybe you're totally right in the argument and whatever happened, but you can learn how to better communicate or learn better timing on how you bring up the information or
That's good.
approach the situation. So even if you're right in whatever you did and whatever you said, that doesn't mean you can't still learn and remain teachable. And I like Philippians 2 verse 3 that says, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves." And so even in being right, I don't have to be proud. I don't have to be conceited. I can still and should remain humble and teachable.
Yeah. So here's something that you can ask yourself, especially in those moments when you feel like I know I'm right in this situation. I know I'm right. We're in this disagreement, and she's trying to tell me something, or he's trying to tell me something, but I know I'm right. So here is a question that you can ask yourself in that moment. Here's the question: what if they are seeing something I'm missing? Because that happens so often.
Yeah.
And if you are open to that question, then you may find like, oh, yep, there is something that I was missing. So it doesn't mean that you abandon the truth about that you were right or the truth of your reality, but you approach the conversation with a willingness to grow. And your spouse can sense that. They sense how you're coming at them. Are you coming at them with a willingness to listen and to grow? Or are you coming at them like, I'm right, heels are dug in, I'm not talking anymore, I'm right, that's it, bottom line, done, case closed, mic drop.
Yeah. And I think it's important for us to remember that our children are watching us, and they will often just repeat whatever it is that they see in us. Like they kind of put that in as their basic operating system, that this is the way that we handle these situations. Mm-hmm. And so we have to model accountability and repentance. And I think about what Proverbs 9, 8, and 9 says. Reprove a wise man, and he will love you. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. And so we've already talked about a fool and how they just want to get their own opinion across. This lets us know how a wise person, if you reprove them, like they're going to love you. Like somebody who's wise, they want to learn. They want to grow. They don't want to make the same mistakes again. And they want to be wise, and they want to continue to grow in their wisdom. And so we need to make sure that we maintain the ability to be corrected.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that's cool is this same David that we talked about in the beginning of our episode today.
He wasn't perfect.
He wasn't perfect at all. In fact, later on, he
did a little thing called murder and adultery.
He sure did. That's the guy who I said, now Abigail's married to a good man.
Yeah.
That's why we had to say good in parentheses or in quotation marks. So David did some pretty bad things, and later on in his life. And Nathan, who was now the prophet in Israel, came to David and said, basically gave him this illustration of a man who stole a poor man's sheep. And anyway, David is furious, and he's like, this man needs to be punished. And Nathan points to David and said, you are the man.
Yeah.
Wow, like, what a moment.
And not in a good way either. Like you're the man.
Not you're the man. But you are the wicked man.
Yeah.
You are the man who has done this horrible thing. And what's so cool is that is when David writes Psalm 51. And if you want to go and look at what a humble heart looks like, read Psalm 51. It is a beautiful example of how we are to deal with any kind of I lost the word.
What?
Critique? Critique, yes, critique. I can't think of the word. It's just gone. That's fine. You guys can fill in that word. But when someone comes and corrects you.
Confrontation?
Yeah, correction, reproof.
Okay.
But he says, it's just a beautiful prayer of repentance. And that is how we need to be. Because that's really godly leadership. And you are a leader in your home. Many of you are leaders in your churches, your communities, even your neighborhoods. And this is your opportunity to show that that humility that you need to model.
Yeah.
And maybe this is something that you really struggle with yourself. Or maybe you know somebody who does, who could maybe learn from this. We want to give you an extra resource.
Okay.
Why don't you tell them about that resource?
Yeah, so we're encouraging you to evaluate yourself. And so we have this bonus resource, the Am I Safe to Talk to Self-Check Guide.
Awesome.
And so if you want some help, just kind of like, hey, I'd love to have some questions that I can kind of work through, a little worksheet, little check guide to see if I'm really safe to talk to. Because like maybe you think you are, and it's like, yeah, in this area you are, in this area you are, here, not so much. And so if you will just shoot an email to info@familymeeting.org and request that, we'll make sure that we get that out to you right away. And so family meeting idea, that guide might be a great thing to help you in the conversation you're going to have with your spouse this week. And it's really just continuing to be open, be vulnerable, ask your spouse the question, am I a safe person that you can talk to? That you can come and you can confront me, and if I make mistakes, if I do something I shouldn't, if there's, a bad pattern that's developing in my life, that you can openly and safely come and talk to me about it. And is there any area of my life where you feel like I have these walls put up, where I am defensive, where I shut you down and I don't want to talk about, I don't want to deal with this area of my heart or of my life? And so it just gives you an opportunity to kind of help to evaluate yourself and break down some of those barriers that we've set up around different areas of our lives and hearts for whatever the reason is. And so I think it'll be a helpful conversation, one that will encourage openness and intimacy between you and your spouse.
Thanks for joining us today. Please go and subscribe to the Family Meeting Podcast from your favorite podcast provider. And if you found this information helpful, please share this episode on social media and invite your friends and family to listen in with you.
To find more content and information Lysandra and I provide, you can go to our website, familymeeting.org, or email us at info@familymeeting.org. If you'd like to shoot us a text or call us, you can send a voice message at 904-257-3062.
And we want to invite you to join us for our next family meeting as we discuss a surefire way to make your kids angry and to turn their hearts away from you. Parental hypocrisy.
Uh-oh.
Do your kids think you're a hypocrite? You may be surprised.
I hope I'm not surprised.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us today for this family meeting. Have a great week, everybody. This meeting is adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
Yep. And so, what about you? Can your spouse talk to you? Can your coworkers, can people come up, your friends talk to you about the things that you have going on in your life? Are you open to receiving whatever advice, instruction, even criticism? Because even from the people who criticize us the harshest, there's things that we can learn.
Sometimes there's a grain of truth.
It can help us. Exactly. It can help us learn and grow. Or maybe it's like, you know what, that criticism is unfounded, but maybe the way that I am, allowing myself to be perceived isn't accurate to what's actually going on. And so there's always things that we can learn. And so evaluating that in your own personal life, if there's a way that we can help you, you want to continue the conversation right here in the comments. We'd love to talk to you more about that. Until next time, I got to go chill out because tomorrow I got to clean the garage.
You're going to chill out from now until tomorrow afternoon in preparation for cleaning the garage?
Yeah, got to prep myself mentally, for that task. So we'll see you next time.
Bye.